September 12, 1943. 9,000 feet above the Gran Sasso mountains in central Italy. 12 gliders cut their engines. Inside one of them sits a man whose face looks like it belongs in a Viking saga. 6'4", a dueling scar running down his left cheek, cold eyes scanning the impossible terrain below. His name is Otto Skorzeny, and he's about to attempt something that every military expert has declared suicide. His mission? Land on top of a mountain fortress, storm a heavily defended hotel, rescue Benito Mussolini, the deposed dictator of Italy, and escape before the Italian garrison can react. No backup, no artillery support, no escape plan if things go wrong. Oh, and he has to do it without killing any Italians. Hitler's orders. As his glider drops toward the rocky mountainside at 100 miles per hour, Skorzeny checks his watch. In 90 seconds, he'll either be a hero or a corpse. His men are terrified. The pilot is sweating through his uniform. But Skorzeny smiles. This is the story of the most audacious commando raid of World War II. A mission so brazen, so impossible, that even Skorzeny's enemies couldn't help but admire it. July 25, 1943. Mussolini, Il Duce, Hitler's oldest ally, the man who invented fascism, has been arrested by his own government. Italy is collapsing. The Allies have invaded Sicily. The Italian people want out of the war. For Hitler, this is catastrophic. If Italy surrenders, the entire southern front opens up. German troops in Italy could be cut off. The Third Reich's soft underbelly would be exposed. But there's a solution, a crazy solution. If Mussolini could be rescued, reinstalled as a puppet leader, perhaps Italy could be held together. The problem? Nobody knows where Mussolini is being held. The Italians, knowing the Germans would try exactly this, have hidden him. First on an island off Sardinia, then another island near Naples, then they move him again, and again. Each time, German intelligence picks up the trail. Each time, the trail goes cold. Until August, when a German agent intercepts a single piece of intelligence, unusual radio traffic from Gran Sasso, a ski resort hotel 7,000 feet up in the Apennine Mountains. The hotel, Campo Imperatore, is accessible only by cable car. It's surrounded by steep cliffs. There's a small plateau, barely large enough for a few vehicles, covered in rocks and boulders. A garrison of 200 Italian carabinieri guards the perimeter. If you wanted to hide someone, you couldn't pick a better prison. Hitler summons his secret weapon, Otto Skorzeny. Who was Otto Skorzeny? Born in Vienna, 1908. Engineering student, dueling champion, hence the scar. Too tall for a fighter pilot. Joined the SS anyway. Fought in France, the Balkans, on the Eastern Front. Brave, certainly. Competent, sure. But nothing exceptional. Until someone had an idea. Germany needed unconventional warfare specialists, commandos, someone to do the missions that regular units couldn't or wouldn't attempt. Skorzeny was plucked from obscurity and made head of Germany's newly formed Special Operations Division. He'd never led a commando raid, never planned an airborne assault, never rescued anybody from anything. No matter, Hitler wanted Mussolini. Skorzeny would get him. He assembled a team of 90 men, mostly Waffen-SS paratroopers and Luftwaffe pilots, volunteers only. When he briefed them on the mission, several men quietly withdrew. Skorzeny didn't blame them. The plan was insane. They would use DFS-230 gliders, engineless aircraft towed by planes and released to glide silently to their target. 12 gliders, 8 men each. They'd crash land on the tiny plateau next to the hotel. A plateau no pilot thought could accommodate even one glider, let alone 12. Then they'd storm the building, grab Mussolini, and, well, Skorzeny would figure out the escape later. A Luftwaffe general reviewed the plan and told Skorzeny it was impossible. The plateau was too small, too rocky, too steep. The gliders would crash, the men would die, and even if they survived, the Italians would simply shoot them all. Skorzeny's response: "Then I'll be the first man out of the first glider." September 12th, 1943, 2 p.m. The weather is perfect, too perfect. Clear skies mean the Italians will see them coming. But there's no more time. Intelligence suggests Mussolini might be moved again. Skorzeny loads into Glider 1 with 7 of his best men. Also joining him, Italian General Fernando Soletti, who'd been convinced, at gunpoint, to come along. Skorzeny's gambit: if the Italian guards see a general arriving, they might hesitate before shooting. The tow planes haul the gliders to 10,000 feet, then release. Silence. Just the whisper of wind over wings. Below, Campo Imperatore looks like a postcard, a white hotel perched on a mountain plateau, surrounded by autumn colors and impossible cliffs. Beautiful, deadly. At 2,000 feet, the guards spot them. Confusion, then alarm. Officers shouting orders. Machine guns swinging into position. At 500 feet, Skorzeny can see individual faces. Soldiers running, windows opening. At 100 feet, the pilot screams, "We're coming in too fast!" The rocks. The glider hits the plateau like a sledgehammer. The skids shatter. The fuselage tears. Men are thrown forward. Skorzeny smashes his head on the frame, blood streaming down his face. The glider slides, grinding over boulders, and finally, miraculously, stops. 10 yards from the hotel entrance, Skorzeny kicks the door open and charges out, submachine gun raised, blood in his eyes, bellowing, "Don't shoot! Don't shoot!" Behind him, more gliders are crash landing. Some hit perfectly. Some cartwheel into rocks, injuring men. One misses the plateau entirely and crashes 200 feet down the mountain. But they're here. Against all odds, they're here. The Italian guards freeze. Some raise their weapons, some don't. General Soletti, pushed forward by Skorzeny, shouts, "Don't shoot! I order you not to shoot!" Confusion is Skorzeny's greatest weapon. He sprints to the hotel entrance, kicks it open. Inside, Italian officers are reaching for their pistols, unsure what's happening. Skorzeny's men pour in behind him, spreading through the building, weapons ready but not firing. Skorzeny asks, "Where is Mussolini?" An Italian lieutenant, hands shaking, points upstairs. Skorzeny takes the stairs 3 at a time, bursts through a door on the second floor, and there he is. Benito Mussolini, former dictator of Italy, stands by a window in a rumpled suit, looking older than his years. He stares at the blood-covered giant who's just broken into his room. "The Führer has sent me to free you." Mussolini, who moments before thought he was about to die, breaks into a smile. The entire assault, from landing to reaching Mussolini, has taken 4 minutes. But now comes the hard part: getting out. The plan was to escape via the cable car, except the Italians have disabled it. The plan was to have backup troops secure the valley below, except they haven't arrived yet. The plan was to have a clear escape route. There is no plan anymore. Skorzeny radios for a Fieseler Storch, a tiny reconnaissance plane capable of short takeoffs to land on the plateau. The pilot responds that it's impossible. The plateau is too short, too rocky, too steep. "Get here anyway," Skorzeny orders. 20 minutes later, the Storch appears. The pilot circles once, realizes Skorzeny wasn't exaggerating, and somehow manages to land on the boulder-strewn plateau. The plane is designed for two people, pilot and passenger. Skorzeny loads Mussolini aboard, then climbs in himself, wedging into the cramped space behind the pilot. Three men in a two-man plane, hundreds of pounds over the weight limit. The Storch bounces across the rocks, struggling to gain speed on the short, uneven surface. The edge of the plateau rushes toward them, and beyond it, a sheer drop of thousands of feet into the valley below. They reach the edge. They drop. The overloaded plane falls toward the valley floor, losing altitude rapidly. Gerlach fights the controls, coaxing lift from wings never designed for this kind of load. For several terrifying seconds, the rocky ground rushes up at them. Slowly, impossibly slowly, the aircraft levels out and begins to climb. By the time they land at a German airfield an hour later, Skorzeny's uniform is still caked with dried blood from the glider crash. Mussolini steps out on shaky legs, visibly shaken by the ordeal. Within days, he's flown to meet Hitler in East Prussia. The mission that everyone said was impossible has succeeded. The Gran Sasso raid made Skorzeny the most famous commando in the world overnight. Even Churchill reportedly said it was a feat of remarkable daring. Eisenhower called it one of the most daring raids of the war. Hitler was ecstatic. Mussolini was reinstalled as a puppet ruler of northern Italy, though he was now a shell of his former self, a broken man playing at being dictator. But here's the thing about legends. They're dangerous. Skorzeny became Hitler's go-to man for impossible missions. Operation Greif during the Battle of the Bulge, infiltrating American lines with English-speaking Germans in captured uniforms, kidnapping the son of the Hungarian regent to prevent Hungary from surrendering, each mission more desperate than the last. After the war, Skorzeny was tried for war crimes, specifically for Operation Greif, using enemy uniforms in combat. He was acquitted after a British commando testified that the Allies did the same thing. He escaped from a POW camp, fled to Spain, allegedly worked for the Mossad hunting down Nazi war criminals, and lived until 1975, running a security consulting firm and telling stories about the day he jumped out of the sky to rescue a dictator. The Gran Sasso raid was militarily insignificant. Mussolini's puppet regime changed nothing. Italy still collapsed. The war still ground on. But significance isn't the same as impact. That raid proved something dangerous, that with enough audacity, enough willingness to risk everything, the impossible becomes merely improbable. And the improbable, well, sometimes you pull it off. Otto Skorzeny understood something that most soldiers never learn. In war, perception matters as much as reality. One dramatic success can overshadow a dozen failures. One impossible rescue can make you immortal. He stood at that glider door at 9,000 feet, looked down at certain death, and smiled. Because men like Otto Skorzeny don't see obstacles. They see opportunities.